A lot of people think that getting rich is about doing some crazy 5 a.m. millionaire morning routine or taking a huge risk and hitting it big overnight. But after becoming a millionaire in my 30s, I realized it is actually none of that. It is really just the tiny small habits that you do consistently over time that is what actually makes you rich. So these are the 20 tiny habits that made the biggest difference for me. Alright, so one of the first things that I do is as soon as I wake up, I stay in bed for about 2 minutes, just thinking about what I am grateful for. I always try to think of at least 3 things, and I make it a point to really feel the joy and the gratitude in my body. This starts my day on a really good note, and it really primes you to attract opportunities, take advantage of them, and just make the most of the day. Because the thing is, you cannot attract money if you are not matching the frequency of money. Like if you are thinking all day about everything that you do, not have all the scarcity, how can you actually attract money into your life if that is your vibe? So it might sound a little woo-woo, but gratitude has made a huge difference for me. Alright, the next tiny habit is to set up an automatic transfer into your savings account, or some sort of investment account for the future every single pay period. This does not even have to be a tiny habit because you just have to do it once and it is going to happen automatically. Like go into your bank account or log into your paycheck portal, wherever you manage your direct deposit, and set a transfer for 5%, $20, 10%, 20% something into a savings account that is out of sight and out of reach. Look, I know saving money can be hard, so really the only way to get around it is to hack your own psychology. Automate it so that it happens and it is non-negotiable. Sometimes getting rich can literally be as simple as just setting one automatic transfer and completely forgetting about it. Then a couple weeks later, you are going to log into your bank account and see that you have accumulated thousands and thousands of dollars, and you are going to feel so good about yourself. If you want to get rich, do not leave saving money for the future and investing to chance. Make it a non-negotiable. Alright, the next tiny habit has to do with being productive and managing your time wisely. Obviously, if you want to get rich, you need to be productive. You need to do more than the average person. That does not necessarily mean hustling and burning the midnight oil. It is about being smart with your time. So this habit is about batching your time. Whenever you are planning your day or your week, try to do like tasks all at once instead of spreading them out throughout the week. This minimizes something called context switching, which is where you have to switch your brain from doing one type of task to another. And then you also have to set out all of your equipment and do all the transitions related to switching tasks. One example how I do this is meal prep. Instead of scrambling to figure out what we are eating for dinner every single weeknight, I actually just meal prep, do all my grocery shopping in a 2 to 3 hour period on the weekend. And that makes making dinner throughout the week really easy. All it means is just kind of putting pieces together and maybe throwing something in a frying pan, but everything is chopped up ready to go. And meals have been planned. Another example of how I batch my time to be efficient is if I ever need to go out or just look nice and have makeup and hair done, I actually try to do everything on that one day. So if I am going out to dinner with a friend, I try to shoot videos on that day, take any Zoom meetings where I have to look good, and do anything where I have to look presentable all on the same day. So that the other days I do not have to do my makeup and I can wear sweatpants. Alright, this next habit is related to automating your savings, but this time it is actually about automating your investments. And specifically, it is doing a strategy called dollar cost averaging. So I know that investing in the stock market can be scary. That is why most people never get around to doing it. So the only way to get around this is to automate your investments by dripping your money into the stock market over time. The way I do this is every month a portion of my income goes straight into the stock market. I buy the same dollar amount of the same index funds every single month. And this strategy has 2 benefits. One, it is non-negotiable, so investing happens no matter what. It is not a question of if I am going to invest when I am going to invest, it just happens. And the second benefit of dollar cost averaging is that you end up improving your average entry price into the stock market over time. Because think about it, if you dollar cost average the same $1,000 into the market every single month when the market is high, your $1,000 is going to buy you less shares because the prices per share are more expensive. Now when the market is low, because all the stocks are on a discount, your $1,000 is going to buy you even more. So dollar cost averaging is an automated way for you to buy a lot when things are cheap and buy less when things are expensive, which is what you should be doing. And what this does, it really improves your returns over time. And it also minimizes the risk of putting all your money in at once and then everything crashing. Alright, tiny habit number 5 is something that I call eating the frog. So you know how it is so easy to procrastinate the thing that you know that you have to do, but you are afraid to do because it is so important to you. Maybe it is that high-stakes phone call you have to make, or the 500 words you need to write for the book you want to write one day, or the video you have to record. You know that big kind of hairy task on your to-do list that will make a big difference for you, but you are scared to do. So human nature is, or at least if you are anything like me, you will leave that to the very end of the day after you have done everything else, including all the busy procrastination tasks like cleaning your kitchen and checking your email. But eating the frog is when you sit down and first thing you do in the morning is that big hairy task. Then you get it out of the way, and that makes you feel so good and so accomplished for the rest of the day that you are going to be super productive, and it will really boost your confidence. A big problem I see with people is that they have a hard time moving forward on their goals and making things happen because they let all the other non-important things fill up their time, and they never get around to actually doing the things that would move the needle. So there is really no way around it. If you want to make a lot of money, you have to learn how to use your time wisely and get things done. So eating the frog really helps with that. All right, tiny habit number 6 is to write down your goals, specifically financial goals. One study found that you are 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down on a regular basis. So all you have to do is write them down for a 42% edge towards achieving your goals. I would say that is pretty good. So freaking write your goals down. Ever since starting my financial journey, I have always known what is the financial goal that I am working towards. In the beginning, it was to get out of debt, so I always kept track of that, writing down the goal to pay off my student loans, pay off my credit cards, and so on. After that, I set a goal to make $100,000 in my business. The next time I set a goal to have $100,000 in investments. I have always written down my financial goals, and it is no surprise that I have hit every single one of them. Okay, the next tiny habit is to use social media intentionally. Now, there is nothing wrong with social media, but you have to use it intentionally. If you use it to network with people, to meet people who will open up opportunities, maybe job and business opportunities, or if you use it to market and sell your services the way businesses do, then social media can be very powerful. The only thing is most people tend to doom scroll and just waste hours and hours and use social media as a procrastination tool instead of working on their goals. That is where social media can be dangerous. The one tiny habit that really helps me use social media wisely is to just limit my time. You can use the iPhone screen time app, which will basically send you a notification and shut you down after you have spent a certain amount of time on each of these platforms. Or set an actual timer, like allow yourself to scroll on Instagram mindlessly for 20 minutes, but set that timer. Because if you do not, it is so easy to look up 3 hours later and you will be like, oh my God, where did the time go? So find ways to set time limits and use social media intentionally. Okay, the next tiny habit is to learn to delegate. In other words, learn to not do everything yourself. It might seem heroic if you are able to do everything yourself and be some sort of superwoman or superman who does not need help from anyone ever. But that mentality is really outdated. I would say if you really want to accomplish big things, make big money, you need to learn how to rely on other people for help and to value your time. You do not need to have a huge budget to pay for an executive assistant or anything crazy like that. It could be as simple as refusing to go spend 3 hours out of your Saturday to go buy groceries. Instead, you can order groceries on Instacart, and yes, you have to pay a fee, maybe $10 or $15 more. But isn't your time worth at least $15 to save 3 hours? Another example of this is it is so easy to find people on TaskRabbit to do all kinds of things. They will pick up your dry cleaning for you so that you do not have to sit in traffic for $30. You can get someone to build your furniture so that in that time you can work on your side hustle or learn a new skill instead. There are so many ways to just value your time more. It does not take that much money. This is one area where I have definitely had to grow because I grew up being very individualistic and independent. But you learn how to delegate and get other people to help you, and that would be such a game changer. Okay, this next tiny habit is simply just to get outside and get some sunshine every single day, at least 30 minutes, because health is wealth. So if you go outside, you get the sun that creates vitamin D. There are real scientifically proven benefits to actually getting real-life sun exposure. It boosts your mood, it creates vitamin D, it regulates your hormone levels, it is just good all around. And if you are miserable and sick and depressed, you are not really going to get far in life. So sunshine is one free, very easy way to take care of your health. And again, health is wealth. All right, tiny habit number 10 is to go through all of your spending, both on your credit cards and bank statements, and go through and cancel any subscriptions and just see what is going on. And now I am not even asking you to make changes or cut back on your spending. Just look. Simply the awareness of what you have swiped your credit card on is already going to adjust your spending naturally. But the problem is when you go months and months and you never look at what is going on in your credit card and you are just shocked at the balance every time because you never built any awareness about your spending habits. And I know it is so tempting to take that head in the sand approach and to avoid because you would rather not know what is going on. But if you want to get rich, you have to know what is going on with your money, right? And really build awareness about your spending. It is actually really empowering, and you have to know what is going on with your money, because if you do not, who will? So I always go through all of my spending every single month and I cancel any subscriptions that I am not using and just make tiny little adjustments, and it makes such a difference. You do not get rich by being careless with your money. So taking care of your money first begins with knowing what is going on with it. Alright, the next tiny habit is to create something called a why. I am awesome file. This is a running list of both your personal achievements and your professional achievements. Mainly, this is really important for professional achievements, because what this does is it gives you leverage for negotiating your pay and asking for a raise. Sometimes we are just so busy with the day-to-day that we actually forget to look back and see everything that we have accomplished. Whenever you finish a big project at work or you bring in a bunch of new clients, make sure you document it with cold hard data. You want to have numbers, do not use vague language, always use concrete numbers, like increased revenue by 30% or brought in 12 new clients that increased sales by $3 million. Whatever it is, make sure you quantify and keep that running list. And then once a quarter or twice a year, or at least once a year, look through your why, I am awesome file, and then ask your boss for a meeting and explain all of these things, and make sure you ask for more money. Because hey, if you do not ask, you do not get, and people are not just going to hand you raises. It is really up to you to own your value and to make sure you are getting what you deserve. And it is a lot easier to do that when you are keeping this why I am awesome file. I keep mine in my Google Drive and I absolutely love it. Whenever I am feeling down and need a little confidence boost, I just read through this Google Drive folder. Alright, the next tiny habit is to make a shopping list before you go grocery shopping. And this tiny habit is about more than just saving money on groceries. It is also about being intentional. Like, you will not overspend if you plan ahead and are really intentional about what you really need. Otherwise, your money is just going to leak to all kinds of things that you did not really need. And that is not really behavior that is going to get you rich. As important as it is to make a lot of money, you also have to develop the skill of keeping the money that you make and not spending more than you need to. Whenever I go to the grocery store, I already know what meals I want to make for that week. And I also make sure to not go to the grocery store hungry. That is a very bad idea. Definitely do not go to bulk stores when you are hungry, because that is a very dangerous place when you are hungry. It is just a tiny little habit, but it makes a really big difference. Sometimes your grocery bill is going to be like 50% less when you actually go with a list. Alright, the next tiny habit is to automate your life and eliminate decision fatigue wherever you can. So what I mean by decision fatigue is like you wake up in the morning and you think about what you will eat for breakfast, and if you should have cream in your coffee or no cream, and what you should wear today, or if you should go to the gym today, or should you go to yoga class, and what you should work on today. And then by the end of the night, you barely have energy to decide what to eat for dinner because our brain power is limited. We wake up in the morning with a limited amount of brain juice. We want to save that brain juice for our most important work, the stuff that is going to move the needle and get us that raise at our job, or the thing that is going to make you the most money in your business. So save your brain juice for that and try to automate the rest. I actually drink the exact same smoothie every single morning for breakfast. And I have the same black coffee. I do not have to think about that. I also pretty much wear the same uniform every day, which is a t-shirt and jeans or a t-shirt and sweatpants. Now, not to compare myself to iconic founders, but some of the most successful people in the world actually did this. They would wear the same shirt every single day because they wanted to save all of their creative brain juice to build their company. The areas where it will make the biggest difference for you to eliminate decision fatigue is your finances. Make a decision now of what you are going to invest, how you are going to invest, and when, and then automate it. It is the dollar cost averaging that we talked about earlier. Eliminate decision fatigue on what you eat and have a system for your meals. It is going to be a protein and a vegetable, and this is the list of proteins, and this is the list of vegetables. Automate your outfits like these are what you wear on Mondays, and this is what you wear on Tuesdays. Automate your workouts like you do the same weightlifting on this day and that day. You do not have 20 different classes to choose from. Just pick the same few things to keep doing over and over. And also automate your schedule, like what time you wake up, what time you go to work, and what your routine is. Try to routinize as many things in your life so you can save the brain juice for things that really matter. Alright, this next tiny habit is one of my favorites, and it is to listen to a money audiobook whenever you are doing chores. You spend a lot of time doing dishes, walking your dog, cleaning little things around the house, or driving to work. So use that time to enrich your mind. I am pretty much always listening to an audiobook, and a lot of the time it is about money. This is probably the one thing that has made the biggest difference for me because, as the saying goes, you cannot solve problems from the same level from which that problem was created. So if you are trying to break through to another level of wealth and money, you are going to need to change your brain. You are going to have to become a different person. And the only way to do that is by getting new inputs through things like audiobooks. I have read so many money audiobooks by now, but some of them have made a massive difference for me. I highly recommend them because they will absolutely transform your mindset and what you see as possible for yourself. And the best thing is you do not have to spend any extra time doing it because you can listen to it while you are just doing dishes. Alright, tiny habit number 15 is to have lunch with at least one new person every single month. This is a really great idea if you want to network. So if you really want to expand your income and make a lot of money, you are going to need to expand your network. Because again, none of us is a lone wolf. It is always somebody that will open the door to a new job opportunity. It is someone that gives you that business idea or can be a very lucrative business partnership. Everything we accomplish and all the money that we make, if you really think about, it comes down to other people. It is about knowing the right people and meeting the right mentors and having the right people on your team. A lot of doors open for you when you know the right people. So people who have really amazing, powerful networks definitely did not get there by accident. They invested time into meeting new people and nurturing those relationships. So one really easy way to do this is to just go out to eat with one new person because we all have to eat anyway. So you might as well arrange a quick lunch or a dinner with somebody new, and that will really open up your world in a lot of ways. For example, I have seen people double their income in a matter of weeks just through one key introduction. So do not underestimate what one key introduction might do for you. Alright, this next tiny habit again, because health is wealth, is something called the 30-30 rule. A lot of health coaches advise to eat 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. It is super important to jumpstart your metabolism and stabilize your blood sugar first thing in the morning. Otherwise, the rest of your day, your hormones go crazy and your metabolism slows down and you also lose energy. Before I started doing this, I would crash at 3 p.m. and have to just lay on the couch or drink a bunch of coffee to keep going. But ever since I started eating 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, mostly with a really delicious protein smoothie, I have had so much energy and have not needed coffee in the afternoon. Again, when you are healthy, you have energy to do things and to accomplish things that will make you more money and just make you a really successful person. So the 30-30 rule is 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up. Alright, this next tiny habit is one that I love, and it is very near and dear to my heart. It is basically to send a text or a voice note or a phone call to a friend or a family member or someone that you care about, and this does not have to be some long 2-hour catch-up that you put on the calendar. It could actually just be an impromptu phone call that you make to your best friend while on a walk. Maybe you have not talked to your mom or dad in a while, so send them a little voice note. These little things make a big difference first in your mental health, because feeling connected to your loved ones makes a huge difference in your emotional well-being, and that obviously spills over into productivity and being able to do things that make a lot of money in your life. You rarely see a successful, wealthy person who is absolutely miserable and has no friends and family in their life. You are going to be too depressed to really do anything, and that is just not how it works. Let us not be so fixated on just dollars and cents in your bank account. There is also something called social capital. The stronger your relationships are, the more people you have to rely on in times of need, and the more people you can talk to for opportunities. Sometimes you can just rely on relationships instead of paying people to do things. Social capital is a real thing, and this social capital can be built throughout the little pockets of your day by sending that little text or voice note. Alright, tiny habit number 18 is to do something that makes you happy every single day. It does not have to be a long thing. It could just be a 10-minute walk at sunset, or it could be a really brief cuddle with your pet on the couch. It could also be watching your favorite show, because I love watching a show almost every weeknight. It is my little indulgence when I do have the time. Maybe you think people who are rich are working all the time and it is hustle culture 24/7, but that really does not work. It is not sustainable because to really be effective and accomplish big things, you need to take care of yourself. You need to make joy a priority and have good emotional well-being, so doing little things that make you happy and give you pleasure,